afraid of something? I'm glad everyone, well, most of everyone, has their hands up. If you don't have your hand up, maybe I can scare you later. But here, let me be more specific, because everyone's afraid of something. Is anyone here afraid of spiders? Well, that's perfect, Johnny, because in my pocket right now, I don't have a spider. But how about, who here is afraid of mice? Anyone afraid of mice? I have a friend who is afraid of mice, and whenever you just talk to her about it, she starts cringing, even at the thought, or even in the conversation about it. How about anyone afraid of heights, maybe? Yeah, a lot of people afraid of heights. How about like confined spaces? Yeah. Believe it or not, I have a friend who's afraid of fish. And it's not sharks or piranhas or anything dangerous like that, but she's just afraid of fish. Something about the gills, something about the eyes and scales or something like that. But she was a friend of mine on YWAM, and we went to the Philippines for mission trips together. And every time we would go to the marketplace, we'd have to intentionally avoid the fish part of the market just for her. And if we had to go through it, we'd have to cover her eyes. Everyone is afraid of something, and that's good. Ian, what are you afraid of? Thanks for asking, Johnny. Well, to be honest, I'm not afraid of anything because I'm a man. The reality is I am afraid of something. I mean, to be honest, for the longest time I thought I wasn't, but as I was preparing this sermon and as I was walking with God throughout this passage of ours this morning, God more and more revealed to me that I am afraid of something. And I'm not as manly as I thought I was. Well, Ian, what are you afraid of? Well, to be honest, I am afraid of uncertainty. I'm afraid of uncertainty. And I suppose it's because I'm somewhat of a control freak. Yes, I admit it. Who else wants to admit that they're a control freak? Yeah? Thank you for the one or two hands there. Confession is good for the soul, by the way, I'm just saying. But I guess it's because, for me, I like to have things in order. For me, I like to have things planned out. And when things aren't certain, it sort of makes me a little nervous. It sort of gets me to doubt a little, especially now that 2015 is coming to a close and 2016 is just around the corner. This anxiety of not knowing what will happen in the new year is starting to build up. It's starting to, what if this happens? And what if this doesn't happen? And I have all these hopes and expectations that I want for the new year, but I'm not sure if they're ever going to happen. Uncertainty, the fear of it, the fear of not knowing. Can anyone relate to this? Good, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I thought this passage was pretty timely this message was pretty timely for the last Sunday of 2015. Amen? Who's done and over with 2015? They're ready for a new year, a new season in life, right? I'm going to be getting you guys to raise your hands up so many times today. Maybe some of you here are expecting a job opportunity in the new year to come, and you don't know if that will come or not. And along with that, maybe some of you are in some sort of financial bind. I mean, we've just all spent tons of money that we don't have on Christmas gifts, so we're expecting that the money would come in the new year, but we aren't certain that it will come. Uncertainty. Maybe it's a health issue. Maybe throughout 2015 you've been in and out of the hospital or with a loved one, and you don't know what 2016 is going to hold in terms of a health problem or a health issue. It's uncertain. Maybe you're someone who goes to work every day or goes to school every day, and you're expecting some changes, maybe a promotion in the new year. Or maybe you feel like you're just stuck where you are and you're expecting some changes to happen wherever it is in your life, but it's not certain if it's going to happen. Maybe you're a parent and you're expecting or hoping and praying that your child would turn their ways around, or maybe you're a husband or wife and you're expecting for your spouse to change. We'll keep on praying, but maybe you're Maybe you're a family member and you're expecting reconciliation with another family member. Maybe there's some issue or struggle and you're expecting change to happen in the new year. But you don't know how it's going to happen. But you want it so bad. The fear of uncertainty. I'm glad you can relate. In all these situations, there is a desire for some sort of good to happen, for some sort of change to happen, but whatever or however that looks like, it's not certain. And what adds fuel to the fire is that if you had a bad year in 2015 in that particular area of life, right? How many of you are willing to admit that 2015 was good, but in some areas was not really great? Right? Everybody. Everyone has had some sort of difficulty in 2015. And maybe all you've seen in that area of your life is failure. Maybe all you've seen in that area of life is defeat. And you're being, whenever you think about it, you lose hope. You lose hope that some change could happen. You lose hope that the good can possibly come out of it in the new year. Maybe you're struggling with a sin issue. And maybe you're stuck in this cycle of sin, confess, sin, confess. And the thought of freedom and freedom from that bondage is so far from your mind because, God, this is how my life was all of 2015, and I don't expect it to change or get any better in 2016. Or you're just very doubtful that it will. I'm afraid of uncertainty in certain areas of my life, and I'm sure you are as well. And so uncertainty comes in like a storm, where the winds of doubt and the winds of fear and the waves of all this not knowing and just starts crashing in on our lives. And especially with 2016 coming up, the future is at hand and things are still uncertain. And on top of that, we have the enemy who is telling us lies in the background, saying, well, this will never happen, or this will never come to fruition, or this, you can give up hope on this. It's kind of overwhelming, just like our sermon last week, right? It's a little overwhelming. In our passage this morning, we read about how the disciples were caught in a similar storm of not knowing, of uncertainty, where it was a physical storm for them. And they didn't know whether or not they were going to live or perish at sea. Verse 37 says that it was a great windstorm. The waves were breaking on the boat. So here are the disciples in the middle of the sea. The waves are crashing in. They probably can't see a thing. It's pitch black. It's dark. And on top of that, this person that they were following, the person that they were trusting, the person that they were hoping to be their Messiah and Savior, was at the back of the boat sleeping. Can anyone relate to how the disciples might have felt in this passage? Maybe you're in a storm of uncertainty, of fears and doubts this morning, and you're feeling, God, where are you? Where are you in this situation? It feels like you're just sleeping at the back of the boat. God, where are you in my plans? Where are you in my future? Where am I going, God? Where are you in this situation? And the reality is, even at this moment in time, don't let the suit fool you. At this moment in time, I'm just as uncertain, I'm just as a wreck as the disciples were. There are still things in my own personal life that I'm praying and I'm hoping and I'm giving up to God because I'm fearful of uncertainty. I'm still uncertain of tomorrow, but as I've struggled through these emotions and as I've struggled through this passage and this sermon that God's given me to give to you this morning, there's one thing that has come to be my resolve. There's one truth that I want to pass on to you this morning. One promise that God has been teaching me over and over and has been hammering into me throughout this entire process. Listen to this. In the midst of uncertainty, Christ is certain. In the midst of uncertainty, Christ is certain. If uncertainty is defined as something not able to be relied on, something not known or definite, or something not to completely place your confidence in, then Christ is the opposite of that. He is certain, able to be known for sure. He is definite, established beyond a doubt. Someone to place full confidence in. In the midst of uncertainty, Christ is certain. If you're going to remember anything from my message this morning, in the midst of uncertainty, Christ is certain. Certain to what? How is Christ certain? Well, he's definite in so many ways. Paul just read us a passage of all these things, of how God is our mighty fortress, how God is our solid foundation. But in our passage, and what God's been teaching me through this passage, I want to give you three things in particular. The three truths of how Christ is certain in uncertainty. Three definite characteristics of Christ that we can place full confidence and have full acceptance of in the coming new year. If ever we find ourselves in a storm of uncertainty, if ever we find ourselves in a storm of doubts and fears. Just three things. And don't worry, I'm not like Pastor Brian where I say, I have 4 points and I have 5 applications and then 7 other things I want to talk about. I'm just going to give you 3 things. 3 things, maybe 4 if you're being good today. 3 ways Christ is certain in the midst of uncertainty. And you know what? They all start with a C, so you can easily remember it. You can write it down somewhere. Alliteration for the win. Anyways. In the midst of uncertainty, number 1, in the